That sounds terrifying. I'll jump out of a plane towards machine gun fire any day.
You're not promised tomorrow. You're going to have to get on top of this.
I'm not sad. I'm not anything. I'm just like a little flat all the time. What's up, y'all?
So most people don't know that. Well, maybe you do know. You might know. So I can't say most people don't know. But we're about 2 weeks ahead. So this podcast will actually come out 2 weeks after we record it. And we did it for two reasons. One, because we wanted to like buy ourselves some wiggle room in case like a really heavy week came up and we just couldn't record at all. And two, we wanted to make sure that we were going to record 3 podcasts before we started.
That's right.
Because isn't it 3? You said 3, right?
Yeah,
the first metric is 3.
Yep. First 3 and then 20.
Right. So this is actually, I think, podcast number 10 because 8 just went live.
Yes, sir, that's right.
So this is either 10 or 11. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out when it launches. I'm losing track
8
of it
went
all.
live. Y'all go win a book.
Yeah, we are giving away a book. Hopefully, it'll help you with your business.
Yep.
It's on the previous podcast. We're gonna pick a winner. Probably pick a winner on the next podcast and announce the winner, but they'll get the book by the time that podcast.
Yeah, we're new to this, y'all. We're working on it. Somebody's getting books. We got extra. So yeah, just like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So another thing that we were going to talk about is, I don't know if it's just me because I have friends in that realm, but do you see a lot of like cold plunges on your social media?
Yes.
Okay. So
well, but you got to know that like I did the CrossFit thing, right? So long ago that we were doing all that wacky stuff back then too. So I've got countless pictures. I need to find them of me sitting in like horse troughs
of ice, yeah.
with ice. But the cool thing is you don't have to DIY it anymore. You can
get them.
Yeah, you can get them. So tell me about this cool one that you
you're
getting a hold of.
This I think it's called like Legacy Ice Bath or something like that. I can go look at the actual brand of it. Yeah, I'll find it. But there's Legacy Recovery. Let's see. Yep. LegacyHealthStore.com. It's called a Legacy Portable Ice Bath. So the whole thing only weighs 35 pounds, so we can move it really easily.
Affiliate link below. Make sure y'all support.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think they don't do affiliates.
Oh, well, never mind.
Exposure.
They just helping our boy out.
So they gave me a 20% discount, just full transparency. Still paid $2,000 for this, so but it's not here yet. But the reason I liked it is because they
got a big daddy.
Yeah, the interior comfortably fits heights up to 6'9".
That's me. That's how tall I am in real life.
Yeah, so the longest one is 196 inches centimeters. So that is 6 foot, 6.4 feet. So the nice thing is, I think Aubrey and I could get in it together. Like she'd be on one end, I'd be on the other.
Y'all can just get in there and freeze together.
Yeah.
Brr.
Yeah. I figured
it goes hot though, right?
It does also go to 104. So like
maybe start with that one. Be like, hey, honey.
No, hey, honey, get into the ice bath.
Get in the ice bath with me and suffer.
But I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of stuff on ice baths, the recovery aspect of it. I was going to ask you, how did you feel about taking ice baths? Did it help you when you were doing CrossFit? Or do you think it was like mental?
I don't know. Yeah. Something about it. I know, whatever. I've read all kinds of stuff. But when you're really banged up and you get in that, something about like your muscles kind of rewarming themselves back up, during competition days or whatever, I know it's helpful for your nervous system. I mean, when you're kind of just like, oh, I'm fatigued. A lot of it's inflammation too. It's like kind of a rapid ability to cool your body down, kind of just reset. You got some nervous system stuff going on there. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to make any claims, but yeah, it was helpful for sure.
They talk about a lot. I know you brought up Huberman, right? Andrew Huberman.
Yeah.
He talks about like releasing spike proteins.
Yep.
And it also talks about like burning brown fat.
Okay.
Which is the harder fat to like get rid of.
Right. I know that brown fat has a metabolism, right? Or brown fat like takes calories
right, and I think that's why the cold does it, because it's like your body is burning the calories to reheat your core back up.
Makes sense.
So I don't know. I don't really care about it from like the weight loss perspective. I think Aubrey is actually interested in the weight loss perspective side of it. But you know how I've been doing my 30 days, right?
New challenge.
Yeah, finishing 30 days of CrossFit. I want to see if adding ice baths, like one time a day for 30 days straight.
What time are you going to do it?
I'm going to do it first thing in the morning.
Hell yeah.
Do you think that? Well, so the reason I don't want to do it post-workout is there's a lot of research that post-workout
Inflammation is good for you.
does reduce the hypertrophy
Gains.
or
Sure.
your muscle
Dim
growth.
gains, y'all.
So it wouldn't like hurt strength gains, but it will hurt like muscle mass, and I want to keep growing muscles, But
come on.
I don't know. I've considered both doing it first thing because I work out in the morning, but if I did it before it wouldn't bother it. So I thought about either first thing in the morning or right before bed.
Yeah, I don't know enough to speak on it fully, but I know it's a timing of cortisol related thing. I believe certain people are better at certain times. I think early afternoon, the slump or like the, whatever. I'm not really sure. I wake up ready to go in the morning.
Yeah, I used to.
So
I had a kid.
Yeah, well, I know
you
true
got
that,
3,
true
but, like,
that, true that. I mean, but normally if everything is set, I wake up like, and a lot of that may be habitual too. So I don't know, but I've never done cold plunging straight out of bed. It's always been midday at some point. I've like hopped in cold showers to like wake up and get going.
Yeah,
but normally it's because I stayed up too late.
No, like so. I every morning, the routine is. So I guess here's my multi-million-dollar or multi-millionaire's morning routine right here. Okay. So every morning I wake up, and the first thing that I do is I open the Bible app, and I do, before I consume any social media content or anything else, I do my devotional in the morning. And sometimes there's a speaking part of the devotional, so I'll like make the bed while the person's like talking about the verse of the day and things like that. But I do my devotional, then I will go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, like splash some water on my face, and then I normally pray before I leave my room. So that's my morning routine. Then I take Miley out. Letty wants to go with me most of the time to walk outside. So we take Miley out. Miley goes to the bathroom. I clean up the dog poop from the day before, and then come up here. And then that's all my morning routine is. It's like all of whatever. But what I thought would be nice, it's like I could let Miley out. And since it's going to be on the front our front porch, Miley's going to the bathroom, I can jump
plunge
into
it up,
plunge. And then depending on the time of the year, if it's warmer out, I can then go pick up the dog poop, and I would be like warm. If it's cold out, I'll probably go pick up the dog poop, plunge, then come inside the house.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of what I was thinking. I would also, we have a sauna. I don't use the sauna as much as I would like because I most of the time don't want to get hot and sweaty again. Like when we go do CrossFit, I feel like I need to like get going for the day. I don't have time to go sauna. But what I was thinking is I could sauna at night and then cold plunge to like cool off. Because the problem I have with sauna is it takes me like 30 minutes to stop sweating afterwards.
Yeah. I'm sweating.
So
forever.
I wonder if I can just like sauna, get the benefits of like getting in the sauna, cold plunge to like stop my body from sweating profusely.
You might become immortal, dude. All these body hacks.
Yeah.
All of them.
I'm red light therapy in my sauna, and then I'm jumping in my cold plunge, and I'm grounding every morning.
Hey, now I am buying a new light. I don't know if you're affected by any of that stuff, but like wintertime, a couple of years, man. Yeah, it's just like I'm just like a little more often than not. I'm not, and I'm not sad. I'm not anything. I'm just like a little flat all the time.
So it was actually way worse for me in Seattle, obviously.
I bet.
And my apartment complex had a tanning bed.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, listen, I know that you're from Florida. Even if you don't want to get in the tanning bed, like go turn it on and just sit in the room with the tanning bed, like emitting that UV light. She said, you will feel off in the winter here because it is so dreary, and it's been like that this week, kind of like dreary and dark.
I know, I've been sluggish.
So I believe that
I believe in sunlight for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So I always feel like, I feel like working out in the CrossFit gym, just being out in the sun, like running and that kind of stuff, like my workouts are just better.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. As much as, as hot as it is or whatever. And I don't know. We said we were going to find like the good stuff in it, but as hot as it is in a workout, like I don't know, the sun feels pretty good on your skin or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That vitamin D.
But yeah, so I just finished the 30 days of running last month, which I think Eastman actually sent me the video today for me to approve my 30-day running video. I told him, I was like, hey, boy, you're going to have to get on top of this. We're already almost to the end of 30 days of CrossFit. And he knows it's been a very busy month for them. He obviously had a kid.
Had a new baby.
Traveled to Ireland,
Yep.
you know, is working on moving down here. They'll be down here literally in a month. So that's really awesome to finally have him here. I'm like, I got you now. So he's gonna be watching this and be like,
Yeah,
oh,
he'll
no.
be chopping this up. So
But
we love you, Steve.
but yeah, so I have that video to approve. But then 30 days of CrossFit for me will end on Saturday. So Saturday will be my official
Yeah.
ending.
How do you feel?
I'm sore.
Yeah.
I think truthfully, the most sore I am is my shoulders. My shoulders are just stay
A
sore.
lot of shoulder workouts.
And
lately.
I have
Lately.
strong shoulders.
You do, yeah.
And-
but a lot of shoulder work. I mean, a lot.
Yeah, I'm talking like, I mean, no one does like
All the
max reps,
All the
handstand
handstand
push-ups,
push-ups.
and then doing 50% of your max rep like every minute or every 2 minutes for 5 rounds and things like that. So it's been, my shoulders are officially
Make your
smoked.
neck sore for sure.
Yeah, my neck is sore too. But I think it's a lot of fun. Aubrey's asked me like, will I continue? What's that look like? I think ideally I would do CrossFit like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then weightlift the other 2 to 3 times
Yeah.
a week. I enjoy, most of the time I enjoy the Saturday classes because they're a group exercise. It's a very social time in my opinion. A lot of times they've split it up where, you know, you're constantly moving and it's a group thing, and I enjoy Saturdays. So I probably would do something like Monday, Wednesday, Saturday CrossFit, and then, you know, go do bodybuilding, you know, the rest of the week, or
Probably a good
something
mix.
like that.
Mix it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Obviously, I used to do all that stuff competitively and would, you know, chase everything. But now it's kind of like I know what I like to do, and I like to get my heart rate up. But I like doing that all different kinds of ways, and sometimes it's just being active. Even when I like lift in a Globo gym, I can still do it with a pace and kind of keep my heart rate up. But yeah, man, something that going back to CrossFit or that style of training after kind of shying away from it for the past couple years is it just feels good to sweat and breathe hard while you're exercising. It feels like exercise.
Yeah.
You know, like I've kind of gotten used to being like my muscle is really fatigued.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm short-term sort out of breath, but I'm barely sweating. And, you know, so.
Yeah, I think the biggest benefit
like
to
that.
me has been, I was talking about is like I felt like I was kind of like in a lull working out before. You know, you went and worked out with me. I never really pushed myself that hard because it was just like,
What are you training for?
yeah, like what's the purpose? Like I just want to not be fat, you know? I was just trying to stay
Yeah.
in shape. And then I feel like CrossFit has been like almost something new to unlock. Like I don't know how to do certain
Oh, yeah,
moves,
man. You got a bunch
know?
of skills that you can
And
work
so
on. That's,
I think
that's
it's
a fun
like-
part of it, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's fun to me. It's because I can work on skills.
There's
like,
always something to work on.
you know, the truth is, yeah, I could probably work on some skills with bench to get a little bit better, but I know how to bench press,
Yep.
right? So yeah, there's some fine tuning that I can do to maybe add like 20 pounds onto it. But with CrossFit, like there's some of these exercises that I'm going to be able to like add 100 pounds to them.
Yeah,
once
well,
I,
you'll get
like-
that Pareto principle type return. You'll get that
Yeah.
80-20% return, you know.
And I think that's what is really fun to me is like, I don't know, learning how to do a snatch and how to do like a clean and jerk and things like that. I didn't play sports in high school. I was focused on, my parents were like, get good grades and we'll help you with college or else get wrecked. And I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand this. You do, but even my friend Josh that's from Seattle, he's like, what do you mean like you had to like try out for sports teams? I was like, no, like you didn't like just get on the football team because you wanted to play football. Like you had to try out, and like a lot of people didn't make the team. And then on top of that, you wanted to go play college sports. Like, good luck. I mean, how many people do you know of that played college sports? You know?
I mean, not a ton. Yeah, no, not a ton.
Would you say
It
like
just depends,
roughly
like
like
it depends on what college you want to go to. Do you want to go to a better college or do you want to play your sport? I know a bunch of people that played sports in college, but not at major college.
But scholarship athletes too, though.
No, not
That's
usually.
what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, not
That-
usually.
Like that the sport
partial,
played
you
for.
know.
Yeah, right. I would argue that maybe I knew like 5 or 6 people per sport that made it onto a scholarship. And I'm talking, it could be literally like
any level.
Yeah, I mean, a community college scholarships for some certain things. I know in softball, a lot of them made it to like essentially like community colleges for softball and baseball. But, you know, to be like a high level player that was going to go get a D1 scholarship, it's like one kid every other year, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and you know who that kid is because they're wrecking everybody else in that sport.
Yeah. And so, and I was not that guy.
No,
you know?
me neither.
And so I knew that I would be able to do well academically. I knew that if I focused, you know, I could, you know, I had straight A's. I took a lot of AP and dual enrolled classes. I graduated in the top 10 from Mosley, which had like 500 kids graduating that year. So like I knew I was going to get into whatever college I wanted to get into. Florida by Futures would take care of the rest. And my parents said, get good grades and get Florida by Futures, and we'll help you with that last little bit so that you guys can do well in school.
Killer.
So that's what we did. So bringing that back is like why I've never done cleans. Like Aubrey said that one of the people was like, well, Brad's done clean was like sports in high school, right? And she was like, oh, he didn't do sports. And they're like, what do you mean he didn't do sports? He's pretty athletic. Like, I was like, I fooled everyone. I don't feel like I'm that athletic.
Yeah. I mean, I had the benefit. I did play sports. I didn't in high school. By high school, I was just, I was chasing girls and not participating in sports, barely going to school as it was.
I felt like you were a big guy in high school. How much? I know you weren't big by your standard, but how big were you?
170, probably.
I mean, I feel like that's still.
It was. I mean, I was definitely strong for the amount that I put into it, I guess.
Yeah.
I found sort of working out in middle school, and then really started kind of liking it more and more. But I didn't know a ton about it. So I just kind of worked out with a little bit of everybody, and a lot of that was like in the football team or something.
Yeah.
So, but I can say that the clean technique I learned was not existent. It was
reverse curling.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just grab the bar and do it up to your chest. That was about it.
Yeah.
Whip it up there. Whip it. That was about the kind of coaching stuff I got. But then in the Army, we actually did do stuff like that. Like people knew how to do it. I was exposed to CrossFit, like I think in like 2005 or 6. Again, not a real, just kind of this is what it is. This is what we're doing. I think we did Murph. We definitely did a really long chipper cardio running workout that we had our weight vests on or plate carriers on. But
in 2011 when I went through dive school, CrossFit, the dive locker had like this like functional training room that a lot of the which Dan Lobby, who goes to our gym, he wasn't my instructor, but he was an instructor there.
We opened Panhandles 2009, so I mean, we definitely had it going by then. But
so CrossFit was definitely more of a thing that was going on. During that time period.
Yeah, so. But Battalion had like a couple of little training things in their compound. So they had like a standard like weight room, like a bodybuilder room. And then they had kind of like it wound up just being like a multi-purpose. We used like a Baddiv's room, like whatever.
Yeah.
Some bullshit. And then they had like kind of a functional room. So guys would go in there, do clean and jerks. There was like sandbags and bands and rubber bands and all kinds of stuff in there.
What always surprised me is like how much they could wreck your body with just body weight movements. So like a lot of people think that you need all this. Yeah, I can vividly remember one of the worst days at dive school. Well, in the beginning you're just constantly sore. I remember everyone was like those tiger tails, like rolling out their bodies all the time trying to like flush the lactic acid because you woke up every day just feeling wrecked because unless you trained that way, which I would argue even if you trained that way, you probably would be sore just because the volume they throw at you. But one day they made us do burpee broad jumps all the way around the dive school building and then do walking lunges all the way around the dive school building. And that was it. And you're sweating, you're breathing hard. It's hard when you're doing it. But the next day you wake up and your legs are just I literally, there were some points where we would go for runs and I'm like, I don't know how I'm physically going to be able to finish this run because my legs literally just feel like noodles. Like they just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
it's all part of it, man. Break you down.
But I mean,
See what you
obviously
made
I
of.
finished.
See what you're made of, you know? You don't want to find that out in wartime, boy.
Well, I mean, dive school didn't nearly have the attrition rate that Ranger School had. I don't know what their attrition rate at Ranger School is.
Well, Ranger School is pretty high, but Ranger School is like a common Army school. A lot of the guys wash out in RIP or along the way or even in the unit because they just can't keep up. It's very high standard. Ranger School was developed after Vietnam as like a leadership school from the LERPs and stuff that I'm kind of glossing over a lot. So if any of y'all are buffs, please don't kill me. But basically, guys would go serve with these guys who served in Vietnam for long periods of time. Then they'd go back to their unit and be like, well, effectively a ranger. Like they knew what was what, man. They knew how to conduct jungle warfare. They knew how to conduct raids and stuff like that. So as to keep this knowledge pushing forward, they created this. Well, so it's a leadership school. So if you're like an infantry officer, I think it's required. I'm not really sure that you have to go to it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
But like you,
because that Nick Bear, he went through it because he was.
You can go to right, so you can go to it. It's sort of just a rite of passage, or like just a baseline requirement. Like you go to like a ranger unit first, and then they send you back to school usually, and then. Yeah, it's just more like a rite of passage. You just have to do it, but I mean, like,
do you know what the attrition rate is?
No, it's pretty high, but no, I don't.
Because I think dive school.
It's pretty high, but like I said, with that one, they so many people probably get selected or sent to it that probably quit before they even start.
Okay,
like they're just like, nah.
I want to say like once you got to dive school, which a lot of people don't even make it because they really want you to pass. Like there's this thing called they call them mud pups, where they like send you to dive lockers. Like local dive lockers before you go down to dive school that you had like train with them so they make sure you're physically ready to do some of this stuff.
Sure.
And so in general, dive school, I want to say it's something like 80% of people that make it to like get to dive school make it all the way through, which is, I mean, that's pretty high. Yeah. But it still surprised me that 20% like wash out. I knew a guy that didn't make it through. I don't ever know. I probably should ask him like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you make it through? Because I don't know. Physically, it was hard, but officer school physically was harder than that. Yeah. Because any chance they got at officer school to like the drill instructors.
I don't know. Airborne school was like the easiest shit in the world.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was running. Running so slowly was hard because I would get like shin splints.
Right.
I had to like keep my feet flexed the whole time because it was like, we're not running. Can I walk?
Oh, like is it like
no, just like little kids. Everybody's passing this class type of situation. I mean, I guess, or maybe I'm comparing that to what came afterwards because it was just like, I can't imagine failing this.
Yeah. So when I went through OCS, obviously you have Marine drill instructors, and I still don't understand like why they want to. I mean, I guess it's just part of that breaking you down to like rebuild you the way they want you built, Yeah. But like, I still am like, I don't know why they made it so physically demanding because nothing else in the military was as physically as demanding as going through officer school was, Like usually you feel like this prepared me for this. It's like this was way overkill what I had to go through.
I don't know, man. You graduate airborne school to go to RIP or whatever it is now, and they're just like, cool, you got your bags? Follow the truck and run behind it. Just run to RIP from there with all your stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean,
don't get lost and make it there. And I don't know what happens. I made it. I didn't question. Yeah. I also didn't have a lot of stuff. I got a heads up that was going to happen. So I had a backpack on.
Yeah, they made us carry our sea bags like full of our uniforms the first day when we had to go get them all. Yeah. Because you're wearing not like these essentially like coveralls, like training coveralls until they issue you your uniforms, and they made us like walk from where we or march or whatever from where we got our uniforms, like holding our sea bags in our arms, and they were heavy as shit, like all the way back to where you had to go. But I mean, all that kind of stuff though. And then I got on a submarine as an officer, and like they're like, you have the physical fitness test to pass twice a year, and that's pretty much their physical fitness standards. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just, to me, it's just felt like overkill for what I was going to be doing.
Oh yeah.
Not that I enjoyed it. Certain aspects. I think the mental warfare is probably why I didn't like as much. Like you don't know what time it is. Like they didn't let you have any alarm clocks or anything. So like they would tell you to go to bed, and you had no way of like preparing to like wake up. Yep. So I remember if I woke up in the middle of the night to pee, I would just go ahead and get my toothbrush and my my razor and I would shave and brush my teeth. So that way in the morning when they woke us up frantically,
you were ready.
I was like, at least I'm ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm partially ready.
But it's just like, then you never slept well.
Nope.
Because you're like waiting on someone to bang on a door to wake you up, you know? Yep. So the moment we actually could figure out what time it was and program alarm clocks and things like that, my life got so much easier.
Oh, less stressful for sure. Yeah.
It's the whole like not knowing when
Well,
something's
I mean,
happen.
though, you know, comparatively, if you can get somebody conditioned, now they don't keep it going. And life in the regular military, or life for most military members generally, no offense to anybody, but like the day-to-day life is very simple. It's easy. You just show up, do your job, do whatever. Like there's so many support. Yeah, it's very monotonous, very support, stuff like that. So, but war is not like that. War has become like that because we have become efficient at like creating these weird little systems. But like, I mean, getting rocketed or whatever, scary as hell. So like, if you can get somebody used to that high level of stress, I feel like, and I am not a psychiatrist or whatever, but you're closing the gap between that like, oh shit scenario.
Yeah.
I feel like when you have this kind of thing, this oh shit.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to solve anything, but it was like, yeah, you know, some of this, like when you've been like, I guess, you know, seen some really intense training simulations, and then you're there and you're like, oh shit, that's kind of what I expected it to look like.
I don't think you get the same like adrenal response, and like you don't flood yourself with adrenaline and then make mistakes and things like that. Because I will tell you, like obviously on the submarine we had drills, but then we had unplanned drills, which is like actual casualties that happen. And I mean, if you're asleep and that fire alarm goes off, like, yeah, it is very jarring.
I bet.
You know, and you're like, you know, I think fire and flooding are probably the two scariest
things. Fire in a
things.
submarine sounds pretty scary.
Yeah. You know, fire on a ship is bad, but not that bad because
you can jump off.
Well, you can't jump.
Worst case.
Well, you have air, fresh air coming in.
Yeah.
So on a submarine, you don't have fresh air coming in, so it just fills with smoke. So, you know, it's like fire in a burning building, essentially. Yep. So the first thing you have to do is start like shutting all these doors to try to isolate the fire to one area. They kill the ventilation, so it starts getting really hot in the submarine really fast. And then you've got to wear a mask to breathe, and you've got to plug into your oxygen lines throughout the ship because that's the only way to breathe the air. So for, you know, the first usually 20 to 30 minutes of a fire, everyone's wearing EAB masks, plugged in. Everyone's like moving towards the fire to try to like put it out, and it's dark and smoky.
That sounds terrifying. I'll jump out of a plane towards machine gun fire any day. That sounds terrifying. You just like stuck in a metal box underwater.
I don't think that I realized. I mean,
I know I didn't realize the crazy mess I was doing. I can tell you that. But I didn't have all the
Yeah, going back now and like thinking about it,
craziness.
So I mean, some of it goes into the submarine that just imploded going down to the Titanic, right?
Dude.
So we're operating all the time on a floating boat, right?
Assuming that everything works, you're just gonna go on that.
And if something goes wrong and it starts to go deeper than it's supposed to go, you have this thing called emergency blow system, which you hit these switches, it shoots out the compressed air like into your ballast tanks, you know, and then it raises you up to the surface. You have to test it, but that's your fail safe to keep from going deeper than you should go. But if that doesn't work, you just go deep until eventually some part of the submarine catastrophically implodes. Yeah. And when it implodes, it would implode at such a pressure, most likely, that it would cause a combustion. And you'd be like a bomb underwater, and everyone would just die instantly.
Yeah,
they
like
would just
really hot, crazy fast.
I think they said something like 2,000 degrees or something. Or if for some reason it wasn't that way, and water would penetrate.
Slow agonize.
Yeah, you would just fill up the submarine with water, and everyone would just drown.
No,
or be crushed.
Cyanide pill.
So yeah, they didn't give us that option,
man.
But I didn't think about like on the submarine. Like you don't think that, which is probably a good thing. You're not thinking that all the time, but like. You're just like, there's no windows. You don't even know how deep you are unless you're in the control room. So you're just walking around the office.
I just assumed everything was like good to go. Like other people had used it, good to go. Ropes course, I don't know. They probably won't let me die.
Yeah.
I'm not hooked to anything. Who's going to stop me from it? Me. But I'm like, they got me. Parachute. it works. I had a friend that was a toe jumper, and I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like your chute does not basically have a static line connected to a line over your head. You jump out the plane, it pulls the chute, right, for normal paratrooper operation. Boom, boom, boom. Hits the side of the plane like 3 times, man. They try to pull him in, pull. They wound up getting him, I think, most of the way in, but they wound up having to cut it. I mean, he didn't get to come in the plane. He had to pull his reserve chute.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's fine, but that would be scary as hell. I thought it was so cool back then. I was like, oh, man, you got to pull. Like,
well, so at dive school, they said they want to push you to the brink of drowning, but they don't actually want you to drown. But people do drown.
Oh, yeah.
They told us when we were at dive school in like 2012, I think you said, no one's died since 2003.
Yeah.
So,
hey, what's drowning mean? Does it mean you actually all the way die? Because otherwise we drown people here every day.
Well, no.
What he said.
So he said no one's died since 2003. However, I came back in like 2014 while I was still in the military and did some proficiency diving while I was home with them. They were going out. I was like, oh, I'm going to go out with dive with them. And one of the guys was on the boat, and I was like, hey, why aren't you diving? He goes, oh, I drowned. And so I have pneumonia now because I got water in my lungs. And I was like you legit drowned. He's like, yeah, they had to resuscitate me on the side of the pool.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, thank God I've already finished dive school because I thought they would like not let you get to that point, but they apparently will let you get to that point.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, well, I mean, shit, it's important, But, yeah, just the dumb stuff I signed up for thinking like, whatever. I didn't have anything. I don't know. I didn't want to like, I don't want to say it in like the role like I didn't have anything to live for, but it's like I didn't have like my kids, my family, my stuff, like my things that I live for now, namely family, whatever purpose, careers type stuff. It was just like, sounds cool, let's do it. Yeah. Yeah, I want to set up a machine gun nest on top of this building. Like, who knows, man? I could have been running it, whatever. Very fortunate. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's wild because kind of like we alluded to, is like, I don't think that I was completely naive to the consequences or repercussions that could happen, but I just wasn't as aware or thoughtful of them in like the day-to-day operations of like, this guy, when you rig the submarine for dive, before the submarine can go down, you have everyone has different compartments, but everyone goes and checks this compartment. Certain valves have to be in certain positions, right? To not let water into the submarine.
I imagine, very important.
Or so that the emergency blow system is working when you're diving, and it's called rigging the submarine for dive. And one person goes through and does them, and then another person goes through and checks everything, and then they turn it into the dive, and the dive tells the captain the submarine is like rigged for dive. But I remember like checking these valves, like, oh yeah, they're done, and I mean I cared, but I don't think I cared as much as I should have cared.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
I don't want to like admit that. But
oh well, yeah, I mean,
I just think you get comfortable.
Well, like growing up watching movies, man, I remember watching like Black Hawk Down. Okay, it's a Ranger movie. Okay, cool, sweet. They fast rope. So they grab the rope, whoosh, slide down it. I was like, that's so cool, man. Okay, the first time I went to do it, that mess was scary as hell. First of all, the rope is farther away than it looks, and I know earlier in this I said I'm 6'9". I'm actually not that tall. So I felt like I had, and I was a machine gunner. I had a ton of gear on me, so like, I don't know. I felt like I kind of had to trust fall to the rope. The rope is fat ass rope, and then you have to get your feet on it. I was like, I'm gonna die. So I feel like so many times, and this is so crazy that I couldn't even do it now. I was just like, I don't know. If it's my time, it's my time. Like, just trust the process. And it didn't, I never broke my ankles. I never, fell off the rope. I never burned in on anybody. Never, my chute always worked and all that shit.
I hear a lot of Army guys like breaking their ankles or their knees, right, on parachuting off.
Yeah, like well, that or even fast roping, landing on the rope. You got a lot of gear on. You're carrying more than your average bear, like you might be going in to sustain some serious stuff. So like, yeah. And truthfully, it's the types of jumps. So like, I mean, it just depends on the clandestineness of it, but it's not usually like a big open, nice field.
Right.
It's like wherever the hell they can get you behind enemy, wherever they.
Did I ever tell you about, we did an operation with MARSOC, which is like the Marines Special Forces,
badasses.
Where they fast roped down onto the submarine.
I know you told me about that. That's crazy.
So we were surface, but like a submarine surface is only like, I mean, you only have like I mean, that deck will get washed by waves
Yeah,
coming over it.
right.
So you're not like up, you're just surfaced a little bit. And they dropped some like gear down in like crates.
Yeah.
And then they dropped the fast rope down. These guys are fast roping in, and then they opened the lockout chamber and they put all their gear in there, shut the lockout chamber, and then they came down, and then they came back up and were able, like, we dove, went somewhere else. They came back up. We went up. They had those Zodiac, like kind of like inflatable like boats. They popped those things up. Then they just they drove off.
Look at those cool guys.
It was, yeah.
Look at those cool guys.
I was like, man, that's so cool.
We got
Look
to
at
do
me.
some cool
I'm
guy
just I'm just
demonstrations.
driving
Nothing
around.
marine, really. Well, we jumped out into the water a couple times for no real reason, boat extraction. But I didn't do much marine anything.
And then I missed this scenario, but one time they did a big Navy SEAL ops before I got on board, and after it was done, they're like, "Oh, we have all this ammo. We need to like shoot off all this ammo. We can't bring it back with us." So they like took the whole top of the submarine, they surfaced submarine, and they like just put targets out in the water, and like people got to just like shoot all kinds of guns that you will never have access to unless you're in the military, So
Fun stuff.
Yeah, I heard that was a lot of fun. I was sad I missed out on that. We would do barbecues. We'd surf a submarine, and they called it Steel Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And so they do barbecues. And I did get to do this. We stopped right outside of Guam. I think I told you this before, like on the Marianas Trench. So I got to swim in the deepest part of the ocean. But there's a machine gunner just sitting up there with a machine gun, like watching people in the water. Essentially, their job would be to shoot a shark. But I'll be honest with you,
boy.
Most of those guys, though, like, I don't know how qualified they were to be shooting. You know what I mean?
I'm
They're just
qualified.
like, yeah.
The Navy. If you need a shark killer.
I tell you, if a shark was by me, shoot me too.
Yep,
like
got
just,
you.
just
I got
take me out because I don't want to die by eaten by a shark. So,
Yes, sir.
but no, that was. I remember being.
Heck yeah.
Occasionally, I would be the officer of the deck, which means you were up there, just standing there while everyone else is swimming. You're in like full gear, harness, and sweating.
Have fun, guys. Yeah, I know.
But then usually someone would come switch with you so that
That's
you could
nice of them.
go swimming.
It's so funny that, I mean, it makes sense, but like, the rigidity of the military and that, like, man, I can't be up here in a tank top at least.
Oh no,
I
you're
gotta
like
be in my full. I gotta be in my full.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
hot,
whatever.
and you're just sweating. So, but no, I think that. I mean, I looked back on a lot of the things that I did in the military with like fondness, but sometimes I was telling Aubrey this the other day, I really didn't try as hard as I feel like I should have. Probably because I knew it wasn't going to be my career. I think one of the biggest regrets I have was like not putting more effort into it. Not that I needed to, or it was going to prove anything. I just felt like I could have done better.
Have you ever given your hardest at anything?
At anything? I mean, I would argue Fat and Weird has taken a lot. But I don't know if it's getting 100%.
You're a smart dude. I mean, I fall into this category a lot. I look back and, we've talked about this. I know we have, but like I look back and go, I could have done that better. Or like, there it is. Yeah, I agree with you though. On the military side, I didn't know what I was doing it for other than I was like supposed to.
Yeah.
Like it was like, I don't know. I was supposed to do it. I'm doing it. And then like
Well, and a lot of times in the military, you're like, they're trying to teach you something, but you don't know the practicality of what they're trying to teach you yet because you're not to that phase of
they
it all.
don't tell you anything other
right.
than
And
what
so when you
you-
get
yeah.
there, you go, oh, damn, I wish I would have paid more attention to X, Y, and Z because now I see why it's important. But they don't ever lead with that. They're just like, you need to do these things. And you're like, but why? And they're like, you'll figure it out one day. And then you figure it out and you're like, well, shit. Yeah. Okay. Well,
it's tough because, and I don't know if this is an age thing. I don't know if it's whatever, but like all those things people used to tell you like, oh, this is the way this is. Well, most of those things, by the time I go, this doesn't have to be this way at all. Like, I don't have great examples off the top of my head, but like once if you're a person that can figure out your own way in life, it is quite silly. There is a saying, at least in the Army, that like, oftentimes being enlisted, the Army is like sitting around eating soup with a fork, going, hey, why don't we use a spoon? And they're like, shut up, you're lower rank, you don't know anything. And it's like, all right, pass me a fork, please.
Well, yeah, and also in the military, there's this weird atmosphere of like misery loves company because like one person's job sucks. They want to make sure everyone else hates their jobs while they're there, and there's this weird persona of like, when I leave, I want this program to go to shit because I want everyone to appreciate how much work I did and how good I was at my job. And like, that's the wrong thing. Like, when you leave a company, if you are good, when you leave a company, the company should be able to seamlessly bring in another person because you've either left, you've built out processes, you've done whatever.
Give a fuck. Man.
Right. And so I think that the hardest part for me is that a lot of things in the military were made harder because other people were unhappy with their life, and they wanted you to be unhappy too. And I think that if you can remove, like, well, Fat and Weird, for example, people love being here. There are hard days, but I don't ever see the hard days where people are like, I want to go. I just want out of here. Like, I don't want to be here. And I mean, we've had days where we're here till like 7, 8 o'clock
I know.
because, we ran out of bags and we're hand sealing
because y'all want cookies.
But I think that that's one of the biggest differences that I see here in a work environment versus in the military. Like, jobs can be equal, but when people are happy, when they feel like the leadership is good, when they understand why they're doing what they're doing, then you just get better results, and then people are willing to put in the extra effort and work harder.
I think I agree with you. On the
that's one thing you do really well.
Yeah.
Thank you. You do really well.
I really try to, because those are two things that really matter to me. If like you want me to get behind you, I need to know what I'm getting behind. So, okay. And then like, if I'm going to bend over backwards to take care of you, like, I want to know that I'm being looked out for. So I try to communicate those messages right out of the gate if I can. Sometimes it's as simple as like, I don't know what it looks like, but I got you and mean it. And they know, and you show them. But yeah, without getting off a tangent here, yeah, man, we have a hell of a great people. You've done a phenomenal job at bringing this team together. Truly, I've done a lot of things. I've built a lot of teams, and and so that said, without getting off on that, we protect it. The difference in kind of here in the military, the topics we were talking about on the military side, I was never told. No, I was enlisted. Nobody cared about what I thought, but like, I was never really told the whys or the hows or whatever, because it didn't matter. And in my job, it really didn't matter. Like, it was more execute according to plan.
Right.
But it was, combat arms related. If it were a more regular type, where there's a civilian application type job, I probably would have clawed my eyes out. I mean, I probably would not have been able to hang. I always got to lean on, I'm young, somebody older than me that is not dead, that has done this multiple times. It's like, when did you dare, and then you do this thing. I was, Roger, I don't, right? So, but yeah, man, the military does a good job of like putting people in a hold. If they don't stay in long enough. I see where people go into the military, they're there for like 4 to sometimes like 10 years, and they come out with like not enough skill. Like, I don't know. They don't come on. They're not somehow not transferable to the real world. They're not making good money. They're not doing. Yeah. They didn't. I don't know why that is, but
I think that there is this weird,
and it's like lower ambition people. I'm not saying they're coming out and get it, but
there is this weird limbo that you can kind of get into in the military where you can kind of skate through. And I think about 10 years is when it starts to be like you can't skate anymore, because there you get like either you need to promote or there's something wrong with you. Like, you don't look at someone that's like goes into 18 and they're like 30 and you're like, why haven't you made this rank yet? Like, there must be something wrong with you, and I think that's kind of where you're talking about. But I did want to ask you a question. I just thought of this. Sure. So, you time in the military, you were enlisted. So a lot of it was more on the execution part. Like, someone else was coming up with the plan. They're like, hey, Adam, you need to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
When did that like switch happen for you? And how was that going from Adam, you need to do X, Y, and Z to being like more of a leadership role? Because I mean, you can argue that you still take somewhat direction even in this role from like me and like what we're doing.
No,
but now
in life, yeah.
But now you have more of a leadership role. So like, what was that like?
Well, yeah. Well, shit, man. It's gone a long time since then. In the enlisted side of stuff, I was 17 when I joined the military. Went through basic training, all that stuff. Was 18 in Ranger Battalion. Did my stint in the military. That was, like I said, all combat arms related stuff, fairly easy. Worked a couple of like jobs. I say jobs. They were nice jobs. They paid very well. I did well for myself, but they weren't my career. I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was working doing contract assignment in the Middle East. Kind of decided I really didn't want to do that anymore. Figured I'd open a gym. So we opened a gym, and really it was from there that I became Coach Adam. So like I became the figure leader head, and like we talked about how you said you were going through like dive school in 2011. I had Panhandle open in 2009,
Yeah.
So like, I had,
2009 is when I graduated from UF.
there you go.
So,
Yeah. Hell yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Yeah.
December 2009 right there.
Sick.
Yeah.
So we kind of carried that on, and I had to work another couple contract assignments, kind of pay the bills, because it didn't, we had gained members, but it didn't really give us a lifestyle that it was gonna, that I wanted or whatever. And Kirsty and I was dating at the time, but we decided to live together and all that good stuff. Anyways. So from there, man, that grew. I did a bunch of athletic stuff.
Do you feel like you learned though, like the leadership traits from like the gym?
I think I was born with it. Truthfully, okay. I've always been like the kid that, I got in trouble because of my idea, or I
got you,
or this or that. I was, definitely not the best athlete, definitely not the tallest, handsomest guy, but I was some form of captain, co-captain-y, something on a lot of the teams I was on. Definitely I was co-captain or captain of everything, CrossFit or Grid I was on.
So was your time in the military almost a little bit unnatural for you to take orders?
It was, but like I said, man, I think we talked about it. I got in trouble one time and I was 18. And everybody else, well, I think one of the other dudes was 20. Everybody else was over 21. They got drunk. Nothing happened. I went to a friend's house. I got in trouble. Because I should have known better. And I'm like, this is some bullshit. This is some literal bullshit. But, my demeanor, my personality, I'm not really the guy, like, if you come up to me and you're like, hey, let's do this thing, I'm going to be like, no.
Yeah.
Right. You'd be the same way. So, now all of the traits of like the leader thing, that just evolved over time. I've calmed down a ton.
Oh, I've calmed down
a ton.
I mean, I don't think you didn't really know me back then, but I would say probably even this year, you probably watched me change.
Yeah, you've calmed down a ton,
so.
man. And it's like, it's cool to feel. I feel like it's like leveling up personally.
Yeah.
But I always try to come at it from, let me be careful on how I say this. I do not feel like I am becoming better people. I feel like I'm becoming a better version of myself. And a lot of times the version of I want to lead with, man, you know what? I understand that, you feel like, let me think their perspective.
Empathy.
Empathy, man. Leading with a person with X skills that can command X number of dollars, that needs the money. I understand what's going on in the economy. I know how it hits me when I go to the grocery store and stuff. So like, how can we align the commonality? How can I invest in them and their skills?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's no right answer. I don't have a secret sauce, but I just give a fuck. And I think people know that.
Yeah. I think that as I've gotten older, just throughout the couple years, really, I guess 5 years now with Fat and Weird, a lot's changed for me. Just knowing, well, one, I think you and I have talked about it, and people may hear this on the podcast and be like, I don't get it, but like life really is a game, and like money is fake. And I know that you're gonna. I just don't want people to take this the wrong way. Like money is real in the aspect of like you need money to do money things, but like I think the moment that you realize that there's so much more money out there than you even understand, and that you can make so much more money than you're limiting yourself to, if money is the thing that you're going after. Like, Adam and I aren't going after money. Money is like a means to freedom, I think. But like, I used to be scared of what if Fat and Weird failed. And I know now that if Fat and Weird failed, I could probably still make a couple $100,000 a year online, or even in person here, just doing business mentorships and coaching. And I realized you go, but Fat and Weird failed. But Fat and Weird, no matter what you take away from me, I got Fat and Weird to...
That's right. And you'll do it again.
To multi-million dollars in revenue year after year after year.
Yeah. We talked about that before. I know I said some stuff about taking the punches, but it's like, and again, quantify failure. We may hit a speed bump, but we're not even going to hit any walls. And shit, I mean, you're building this right now, confidence right now within yourself, and whatever. I'm on the team. You've got a great team around you. I've done this shit before. Like, we've built these things before. There is no failing. Right. It could be done again. Absolutely. And to touch on like the money thing, without overly like getting biblical, don't chase the dollar sign, man. If you're chasing money, then you're gonna do some things that you won't like about your character, in my opinion. Now that said, develop the skills that allow you to command what you think your time and your life is worth, because we're trading our lives for the mess that's around us to some extent. So, I use money as a metric to measure the things that I want in my life. And I'm not a crazy materialistic person. Right. I'm a little bougie. I like nice things here and there. But the distance between the want I have for things in my life and where I am. But I also use that in reverse too, because if I start wanting, like if I take a hard assessment and I go like, whoa, I'm kind of wanting a little too much. I want to go not feel it at all, rent some fancy car and like zip around with my son for like a weekend and not feel it at all. But I mean, fancy, but I don't want to buy one. Yeah. So like, I don't think there's anything outrageous about that. It's an overpriced experience that then I'm going to let somebody have their car.
Well, like, so the cruise that I just went on, my parents, I want to be able to do those vacations and not feel it in the aspect of like, okay, well, we really need to budget now because we did this cruise, Yeah. Or even, I'll bring another example, and maybe this one might be a little outlandish, but like Aubrey's family is coming into town next month, but like in like 3 weeks, to go to Disney. Yep. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we were financially in a spot to like rent those Disney people that like those Disney tour guide essentially things, so that like their experience at Disney would be like really ultimate Disney
2024, baby.
So
I know
that's where I'm at in life, and it's I guess it's really about pouring out into the people I care about, and
you want it for the right reasons.
I want to enrich people's lives.
Freedom, man. Yeah, I'm gonna steal it, but there's a reel where the dude just says he's chasing freedom, and like the freedom to do that. Yeah, I get to benefit the joy that you spread, right? Or whatever. So like in that instance, man, not only would it be cool to do that, it'd be cool to fly them all down here, like private or whatever. And no, I don't think that's crazy. Now, if you were like, well, no, shit, none of that's crazy. And I don't want to stomp on any of y'all's ambitions. So if it's high, but like, what was the name of the ship you went on?
The Harmony of the Seas.
If you came to me and you were like, dude, I'm buying the Harmony of the Seas, the whole thing, no one's gonna use it, I might be like, that might be a little crazy. But if you're like, hey man, I want to take a trip on it, it's like dope. We need to go sell some more stuff or do some more stuff. Man, that's why we hustle for nice trips, man. I don't want to econo lodge it. Yeah. No offense. I mean, if that's where you're at, that's where you're at. Yeah. But I'm not working this hard to be there. I might be there grinding my way somewhere else, but I'm not grinding for that at all, buddy.
And another thing that I've learned too is that you have to appreciate the entire process, even
you better love the journey,
eating shit phase.
You better love
because you're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised your goal and your destination. So you at least need to enjoy the run. Like for example, a marathon runner, like isn't going to be like, I'm only happy when I'm going to cross that finish line. They truly enjoy running. Yep. So yes,
they're least happy.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. So yes, it's painful at mile 20. and stuff like that. And they probably do want to just get to the finish line at some point, with especially if they're, you know, a newer runner and this is like their first one, you know, like they're in pain and they just want to get to the finish line. But deep down inside, they've enjoyed the process of working up to that marathon. They've enjoyed the runs they put in before. They've done all that stuff. Or else
you got a great analogy with business though, man. So like, maybe some folks are going to get done and go, whoa, man, that was hard. I'm ready for a good long break, or maybe I'm done, period. Whereas other people are going to go,
now what?
What do I do now?
Yeah.
Y'all want to keep running? Yeah. Y'all want to do one of them 100-mile things after this or whatever, just because that's what they're wired to do. And
and obviously
it takes a wiring for sure.
I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, taking a break, taking a breather.
There's nothing wrong with anything. You're trading your life.
Yeah. So, but that's it. I think like we did a really long podcast today.
I think we did. Where's the time?
Almost an hour, 55 minutes.
55 minutes. Make us look good, Easty.
Yeah. So this was a good one. I feel like we literally, our only notes were ice bath, first thing in the morning, CrossFit, and the rest of it was free flowing. So I hope you guys enjoyed our free flow. So as always, you're worth it. Do hard shit.
See ya.